Our trip from Ontario to Alberta was long and slow. But we kept our spirits up, dreaming of the beautiful farmland that the Canadian government had promised us. And then we arrived. And oh, my heart sank when I first saw our land. A quarter section of nothing but grass and scrub. If we were ever to make anything of this, we realized, it would have to be through our own sweat. So we set to work. For now, our home is a tent. We spend all our time breaking the land. It is such slow going. On a good day with horses and oxen, we're lucky to break an acre. We are so exhausted. And we still have to get a house up before winter.
Since my wife and I arrived here from the east, this little town has become almost the entire world to us. All that space and so few people, it takes hours to ride to the next village. Then one day, I saw Owen Bradshaw, the implement dealer, with one of those new automobiles we've been hearing about. Looks like he's got a couple for sale now. Well, that's a grand idea. 4 skinny wheels on these mud tracks and no horse to pull you out. And here's something that's sure to catch on. Anyways, I've heard folks say if you go any faster than 15 miles an hour, you'll damage your body. Now, my bet is it's just a fad. Old Bradshaw's going to strike out this time. He'll never sell any of those new contraptions around here.
Now that spring is here, we're going to dip into our savings and hire Ole Gustafsson to do some braking. He's got a steam traction engine that can pull plows our horses can't even dream of. But still, the isolation. Once, George went off for a couple of days to get wood. I looked out on the prairie all around. There were people out there I knew, but I could see nothing to indicate it. Sometimes I feel absolutely alone in the world. It's been 6 months since I've even seen another woman, let alone had anyone else to talk to.
Well, some people in town might welcome those new automobiles. But my horse Henry sure doesn't. He bolts when he so much as hears them coming. All that noise and smoke. And fast. Some of them go 20, 25, even 30 miles an hour. But the drivers don't seem any the worse for wear. I just sit here in my rig watching them head out for a drive to Birch Lake thinking, it'll be a 2-day trip for me at best. And they'll be back by afternoon. Sure would be nice to see a bit more of this country that we've come to make our home in.
We've got over 100 acres planted in wheat now. With harvest here, we're going to hire Bill Nolan to help us with the threshing. His outfit goes around to all the farms in our district. We all have to wait our turn. It's always a race against time. Will they get to our farm before the first frost? Or will we lose some of our crop like last year? All those horses, men, and that big steam engine. It's an endless chore feeding them. 3 hot meals a day and 2 lunches in the field. Still, it is an exciting time. And it's good to see the crop coming in. Finally, this land is starting to pay.
There are a lot more automobiles on the streets of town now, and more people visiting from towns that I've never been to. I'm just going to have to get one for myself. It's enough to just drive around town. I admit it, it's much to be seen as to actually go anywhere. But some of the old-fashioned people in town get annoyed at us drivers.
You're scaring the horses,
They say.
You're fouling the air. That motor car exhaust stinks.
Well, I tell them calmly, at least automobile exhaust doesn't get stuck on the soles of your shoes.
Now that winter's here, George has to haul our grain to the elevator 20 miles away. He's gone 2 or 3 days at a time while I'm here alone with the baby. One night I got to thinking, if we had a tractor, we wouldn't have to care for all these horses all winter long. And in the spring, we could do our field work faster than with our horses. George, I said, we've got 1/4 of our land tied up in hay for the horses. If we got rid of some of them, we could plant wheat on that land and earn some income to pay off the tractor. And we can get some money for them on a trade-in.
but Sarah,
He said,
we've had the horses for years, and they do just fine. Anyway, they're already paid for, and horses don't get stuck in the middle of the field.
So we argue back and forth. You don't have to give tractors a rest, I say, or feed them even when they're not working.
But Sarah,
We could get the work done faster and buy more land to plant. Why, with headlights, you could even work all night long if you had to,
so who wants to work all night long?
he says.
It seems most everybody and everything in town is getting around in motor vehicles now. I always said that Owen Bradshaw was one smart businessman. Some of us join up in convoy on these dirt tracks. You can't really dignify them with the title of roads. We head out into the countryside. No maps, no road markers, and as often as not, no signs to say whether you've arrived in Balf, Bashaw, or Bicycle. The people who live there know what they are. It doesn't matter to them if you don't have a clue. Some roads just end in the middle of nowhere. So we strike out across a farmer's field to find the road on the other side. And we just hope he doesn't see us.
We can hear those townspeople driving through our fields of wheat. George, he runs for his shotgun to scare them away. But I just stand there and watch. We've been here for 15 years, and I haven't been more than a few miles from home. I'd love to go see the sights in Banff that I've read so much about.
We motorists got tired of bumpy rides, so we formed a chapter of the Good Roads Society. And we're hounding the government into fixing up the roads. There are enough of us, and I suspect enough people of influence who own cars by now, that we're finally starting to get some action. The trouble is, out on the road, you can run out of gas just trying to find a filling station. There's so few of them. And you have to be your own mobile repair shop. Broken axles, overheated engines. Oh, we see the lot.
Get a horse.
But that day that I had to mend my tire 17 times because the patch kept falling off, well, I nearly swore off travel for good. Why do we do it, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. In one day, we can go farther and see more places than we'd otherwise see in a year. The new highway to Banff is chock full of tourists gaping at the mountains. We have discovered the freedom of the road.
the freedom of the road.
George says.
Oh, they don't look too free when they're stuck in that mud hole. And I won't haul them out for free, neither.
We've heard rumors that those farmers are pumping water into the holes just so they can make a little money off of us.
George does whatever he can to earn a few extra dollars. It seems the world is changing around us while we continue on in the same old way. I get so tired of that Mabel Thornpipe acting like she has a direct line to God because she can make it to church every Sunday in her new car.
You know, I've been thinking, Sarah.
George said one day.
And we got 1/4 of our land tied up in forage. Now, if we got a tractor, we could use that land for wheat.
I knew he'd seen that Emil Nosenheimer over in the next section, showing off his tractor and his new car. Good idea, I said. And a couple of days later, he was sitting proudly at the wheel of our first tractor. Well, he got used to the tractor, and just recently we've bought a car, too. At last, I feel like we've caught up with the times.
When I think of the ways we used to travel, it seems like part of the distant past. I can hardly imagine life without my car now. Things don't seem so far away anymore. We are part of the wide world at last.
To see George showing off that car, you'd think that it had all been his idea in the first place. But I don't mind. What with the tractor and all, we've got a little more time on our hands. We get into town more often now, and I even get to socialize a bit. Who would have believed it? So much change in just 20 years. You know, next year, I think we're even going to take that trip to Banff I've been dreaming of for so long.